First of all, I would like to thank you to BW World for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session among the stalwarts of the industry, all CFOs. As we are talking, the CFOs are the future CEOs. So I am really thankful to BW World and Mr. Anurag Batra for giving me this opportunity once again. So first of all, we have 5 panelists on this panel, and our topic is very, I think, I'll say in the current time, this is a very important topic where the CFOs are the strategic business partner of CEO or the board actually. Friends, as Anurag ji told, CFOs are the chief future officer. I'll say the CFOs are the chief future financial officer actually. So, because the finance is the core, which cannot be ignored, but definitely in this COVID era, when everything was shut down actually, nothing was working, but the only one department was there which was working day and night actually. You see, the payments were made on time, there were results were published on time, employee salary was issued given on time, the bank payments were on time. So you see, everything was on time, and how they did it actually, that was really a great learning for the entire CFO world. And at that time, the CEOs were in sync with the CFOs actually. That why I think our panelists will agree on that, that during that COVID time, the way the CFOs has functioned, and they have coordinated with all the department, their top management and the board, and they have come out, and the companies have performed very well actually. You see, the companies which were managing by the CFOs, these companies have done very well in terms of their numbers, in terms of their growth and everything, in spite of it, the COVID and the other challenges. So you see, the CFOs are not only playing the role of number crunching actually. Number crunching is now way behind actually, if you see, because the technology has done a wonderful thing where I think most of the number crunching work can be done through technology. So if you see the top management or the board or the shareholders and the regulator and the vendor and the employees, everybody looking towards CFO in the organization actually. And the CFO role is to collaborate, to justify, to connect with these people and do the things at the right time. So friends, I would like to invite all the panelists one by one for this discussion today. There are many areas which we need to discuss, understand from the topic point of view, because this today's topic is not very simple actually. If you see many CFOs are CEOs in the past actually, have become CEOs in the past actually. There are many large companies. If I take the name, there are some, I think, top 10 companies of the country are having the CEOs. Those were CFOs earlier actually. So there are 4 or 5 areas which I will cover up in this discussion, because we cannot cover the entire thing. So one is that ESG. ESG is one of the area which is very important actually. If you see across the world, the companies which are ESG compliant, their valuations are mind-boggling actually, if you see. So this topic is, I think, very relevant for this today's discussion, how the CFOs can play the role in the ESG compliant and how they can sync with the CEO and board to make it happen actually. Then the technology. As of today, if you see, I think most of the things are done through technology. And every company is spending huge amount on technology. And you see that the technology which is buying by the CEOs and the people at the top, many times they are not evaluating in deep actually, and the 80 or 70 to 80% of the technology functions are not usable for the organization, but because of the fancy things, they are buying it at a very high cost and all. So the CFO role comes in that situation. Then the collaboration between the different department actually. So I will say, to some years back, that CFO role was thankless job actually, thankless kind of, because whenever you are talking to employee, the employee was always saying that finance department is cutting my expenditure, they are reducing the reimbursements and everything. So, and whenever we are talking to vendors, the vendors were saying that CFO is cutting my the invoice value. So everywhere you will see the everything was coming to the finance department. But now this is not there actually. So the CFO role is to how to collaborate, how to give them the message that this department is for the help of the organization, not for the cutting of the things actually. But you have to see the best for the organization actually. And one important topic is the globalization of the business edge actually. If you see that currently the companies are, Indian companies are reaching to the other part of the world, and they are expanding their reach in the other part of the world, and where you see that there are a lot of things which are coming when they are launching their product, launching their businesses. So only not the CFO and the top, the board is responsible for that. CFOs are also responsible whether these products will be right for that market, whether whatever the expenditure is there, whatever the strategies to be prepared and all, they should be in sync with that. And the last but not the least, that the topic which I will cover in that is the CFO to CEO. Because this is an important, very important part, because all of you are CFOs who are working in your organization. And as I told that many CFOs have become CEOs, so how this transformation can happen actually? This is very important. There is a journey of this transformation. So our panelists will definitely be in a position to give the insights about that. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you for joining with us in this program. And I think Madam is there on the this online. What do you think from the ESG point of view? I think ESG is one of the area which I think everybody has to cover. If you see in the country, I think government has come out with some regulation where it should be reported in the balance sheet also. And it's a moral responsibility also that whenever you are earning or you are getting from the society, you have to give back to the society. Over to you, sir.
Good morning and thank you, Ashish. So I'd like to share the perspective of a cement company. So just to simplify things, how cement is made. So we mine the limestone in a blast furnace or in a kiln. We heat it up to 1500 temperature. That means a lot of energy is used. Coal, petcoke, etc. is used. And clinker is formed. Clinker is an intermediate product. And then clinker is ground along with some additives like fly ash or slag, which are byproducts of other industries. And mixture of this is the cement, simplistically, very simple thing. So in this business, everybody knows that since you're using a lot of energy, so it is hard to abate gray sector. That means you use a lot of carbon emission you generate. And just to put another things in perspective, recently Holcim exited from India. They sold it to Adani's. One of the key reasons mentioned by them to exit from cement sector in India is ESG concerns. So in a company like cement, industry like cement, how do you take care of ESG concerns? Because that is one of the key concern for all the investors. So the philosophy we believe in as a company, as an organization, is that clean and green is profitable and sustainable. So all the initiatives to reduce your energy consumption, they get tracked. So in our business, how to reduce the energy consumption first, which is first is technology that you reduce a specific consumption, but also how you're able to use alternate fuels instead of fossil fuels. That is important. So just to give you some background, today the cost of coal or petcoke in terms of rupees per million calorie is close to 3,000. It may range from 2,500 to 3,000. Alternate fuels, which is a waste of other industries, they'll cost anywhere between 200 300 rupees, and some of these will have negative also, because you're trying to solve the problem of other industry consuming their waste. So how can you maximize use of alternate fuels in the kilns in place of fossil fuel? It's a straight addition to your bottom line and reduction in the carbon emission. So this is use of alternate fuels is one of the key metric which we monitor month by month, day by day. Second is use of renewable energy from wind power, from solar power, instead of the normal captive power. Captive power today costs about 10 rupees per unit. Even if I go to grid, it costs about 7 rupees. When I go to renewable, all-inclusive cost by paying all the levies cost about 4.5 to 5 rupees. So how to maximize usage of renewable power? That is one of the key initiative of the company which is tracked. How to set up additional capacities? So we already announced as a company that by 2030, we'll use 100% renewable power. By 2040, we'll have a zero net carbon emissions in the company. Today, our carbon emissions are 40% lower than the global average. We are at 489 kg per ton of the cement. It is 40% lower than the global average. And we are the greenest or the lowest carbon emission company in the country. Likewise, how to ensure that the governance concerns of the investors, they get taken care of. Because whenever I talk about maximizing your value creation potential, your market cap has to increase. One is, of course, your operating profit has to increase because it gives you straight multiples in the market cap. But greater value comes when your P ratio improves or your EBITDA multiple improves. So how to ensure that the governance concerns of the investors, they get taken care of. So when we are talking to the investors, their issues came out that you are a cement company. You keep doing acquisitions, you sometimes keep going outside cement also. You start some other business. So how do you address the anxiety of investors that you will not invest our money in other businesses? You have purchased IEX shares, you have started building materials industry, like say Hippo store, which you have started. So these concerns from investors, I think they are seriously taken care of. We came out with a capital allocation policy, first time in the industry, that how our EBITDA or operating profit will be used. So we said that 80% of these profits will use for the cement sector only, and we'll be pure play cement company. We'll exit all non-core businesses. Second is clear allocation about up to 10% of the profits will be distributed to the shareholders, either as dividend or buyback of shares. Another 10% will be invested into green technologies. So that gave a lot of comfort to the investors. Second is we exited from Hippo store. We sold that business to a promoter entity that we're out of this. The investors had concerns about our investment to IEX shares. We started offloading. Of course, we cannot, being a public company, we cannot announce clear-cut time plan because that will affect the share market value itself. But these things definitely helped. We changed the auditors. Grant Thornton was brought in as a key auditor in both holding company as well as the main operating company. Internal auditors were changed to Ernst & Young. Board is also being restructured to bring more eminent names. So all these things are also addressing the concerns of the investors. In terms of our social journey, CSR spending, our initiative is to ensure that all the programs around our plants, we take care of the livelihood of people, how to maximize their livelihood. And how to ensure that if we are contributing, let's say we contribute 2%, so we are already spending more than 2% of our profits. But how to ensure that we leverage much more than that. So our total spending on CSR is about 3.5 to 4 times of our contribution to CSR because we are able to leverage these funds by partnering with NABARD and other ADBA and these agencies who also contribute 2 times or 3 times of our contribution because they see a real value addition for the society, for the income generation of the people. So this is the way you are able to address, and as a CFO, you have to ensure that you are ensuring that these things are one of the key parameters of your performance metrics as well as value creation initiatives.
Thank you. Very well covered, sir. I think you've given a lot of insights. And as CFO, I think a lot of expenditure will be required on these activities actually. So you have to see that it should be invested or expended in the right direction actually. That is important. So great, sir. Thank you very much for covering this part of the topic. Friends, now we have the collaboration, which I discussed that collaboration is very, very important actually. Because you see that if the collaboration or the coordination is weak in any organization, even the very good organization will also face difficulty in the longer run. So we would like to understand from him about the collaboration, what is the role of CFO when the collaboration or coordination is required, and how does the CFO complement the CEO role actually, and why do we call them business partners? Thank you.
Thank you. As we know that finance is known more for a business partnering role. So this has evolved over a period of time that now everything is being routed through finance, and overall the hygiene control, everything that is taken for granted. But more importantly is to collaborate with the business team and be more solution oriented. For this, I think number one part is the agility and the adaptability. So if a finance is agile and able to adapt to the solutions, to the customer needs, in whichever perspective we were to look at across the value chain, the finance needs to be agile to adapt to what is required for doing the business in today's world, right? And in fact, the pandemic also has taught us a couple of lessons in terms of how to change and adapt yourself in the ever-changing world. Number two is more on solution orientation. See, gone are the days where we do vetting, checking, vouching. All these are no more relevant. It is more about owning up the numbers, owning up the business plan. So we need to believe in the business plan. Forget sales and marketing where they are always making a rosy picture. But it is not about making those rosy picture. It is about understanding those assumptions and be partner to those assumptions. If there are assumptions which need to be challenged enough, yes, we need to challenge. But at the same time, once it is more towards finalized, at the end of the day, after this collaboration, we have to own together with them. That is what the business partnering is, where you are collaborating across the cross-functional teams. It is no matter whether the number forecast is in the direction of what a CEO aspires for or what the business aspires for. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is more about together as a team we collaborate rather than only vetting or being called as intelligent calculators in the
Collaboration or
Ashish,
yeah.
this is a very favorite subject for me, so that's why I would like to say something. I have a 30 years of experience, and out of 30 years, last 4 years, I'm into the CEO role. So now, what is the expectation of CEO from his CFO? So that I can, I would like to say from my heart actually. Why I'm saying so, a CFO is basically, yes, he is taking care of the finance function as well as the controlling function, as well as the compliance, legal compliances, each and everything. But when you turn into a CEO role, so your way of thinking and your perspective is totally changed. So from that point of view, I can say, saas bhi kabhi bahu thi. So that means a person who is a CFO and when turned into a CEO role, so his role and responsibility is very, very different. And his expectations from his CFO is slightly changed. For example, he wants my CFO should be a strategic thinking person, is not only the number person. Because what is happening, very sorry to say, a lot of CFOs are there. I am also a CFO once upon a time. But we are very conservative. ये कहते हैं ना कि किसी फैमिली में अगर एक सीईओ हो तो उस फैमिली में बिजनेस नहीं हो सकता. कुछ भी बिजनेस से पहले P&L बना के बोल देगा इसमें लॉस है, is worthwhile to do this business. For every business is so conservative. So from that point of view, as a CEO, I would like to say the person should be a strategic thinking, not only the number, because number is now taken care by the systems, ERP and SAPs. He should be the co-pilot, not the passenger for the CEO. That is very, very important. He should be a visionary and the business partner. He should help the CEO in business decision-making process, not only the numbers. So from that point of view, I would like to say that the CFO should change his perspective and he should be a risk-taking person. Without a risk-taking person, the CFO and CEO alignment will not be there, I can bet you. The CFO should take the risk I'm not saying the invisible risk or something, a risk which will be damage the company or the organization, but at least he should be a risk-taking person so that he can help to CEO to take the business grow more and more. And the CFO should take care all the administrative, functional, compliances, legal, supply chain, IT, everything, so that the CEO should be free to go for business expansion, business development, strategy-related matters. So that is, you can say, an expectation as a CEO from my CFO. So that is from my heart, I can say, that is my views. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you are very well covered, and a lot of insights have come from your discussion. That it's not be only the number part of the this thing basically. So how does both CFO and CEO can collaborate? So Bapna ji, I think you are now CEO of the company also. So there is one very important question which we would like to take from you. This is related to the transformation from CFO to CEO. Although you have covered some part, but if you can cover in detail, because a lot of CFOs are here, a lot of CFOs are listening on online also. So they will be, I think, very much interested to know about this.
By qualification, I'm a chartered accountant, company secretary, cost accountant, and MBA in finance. But very frankly, from my nature and from my behavior, I'm not a finance person. Very sorry to say, this is fact. Reason being, from my start of career, I always believe in risk-taking. I always believe in team building. I always believe to see how the business should grow. The first priority, the business should grow. Business hoga to profit loss aata rahega. Don't worry about this. If there is no business, definitely you are in losses, no doubt about it. So that is my way of thinking, my way of working. So, you know, but as a qualification, you are a chartered accountant, definitely you will start your career from the finance function only. So when a lot of time, a big amount of time I have spent as a general manager finance, then CFO and company secretary. But last 4 years, thanks to my promoters and my chairman of the company, they have given me the chance to first as a CEO and CFO role. So left hand my is a CFO role, and the right hand side I am the COO. And I very successfully, I am very proud to say, very successfully I have
what CFO should do to transform himself to become CEO? Any training is there or anything?
No, it's not a training, if you really ask me. You know, do you think for an entrepreneur or for a promoter for an industry there is any training? Do you think any family-driven companies, the second generation or the third generation need any training for the entrepreneurship, for to become the industries? No, not at all. It's from heart. You should be aggressive. A vision should be there, and you should act like an entrepreneur. If you work like an entrepreneur in your finance function, definitely the company management will identify you and you will become the CEO. No one can stop you. So the theme, the aggression you should have in your working in the finance role. Even in the finance role, you should not work like a bureaucrat. You know, in most of the cases, I find a finance person, CFO or the finance head or the finance controller always work like a bureaucracy. How to stop these things? Sir, this is not good. This is not viable. This is not profitable. No, sir, this is a compliance issue. You can't do it. We will be in problem. There will be legal issues. Come on. I understand compliance is the one part, but ultimately business. First you have the business, then everything will be okay. From that point of view, if you have that type of energy and thought process in yourself, definitely a CFO can transfer into CEO. Because CEO is responsible for the growth and the business. Yes, bottom line is also there. But ultimately, the growth of business is very much important, and how you grow in your business, then definitely the profit will be there. And definitely if you have a good CFO and you have a good alignment with him, definitely he will guide you and he will tell you how to make the profit. So from that point of view, as I told you, risk-taking capability, team building, understanding of business, alignment with the team, and have a vision, strategy. You know, whatever we have not read in our chartered accountancy course, other than everything, if you have in your inside, as an entrepreneur, as a want to grow your business, then definitely a CFO can be transformed into CEO, and he will be the most successful CEO, I can say. Because the finance and the technical and the risk-taking capability a person is having, he will be a fantastic CEO. I can bet you.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you very much. So nice of you. I think you have, discussed straightforward the things which you have, I think, faced in the situation, or you have become from CFO to CEO. Great. So, friends, we have Dr. Aradhana Sarin. She is online with us. So, madam, we know that business are becoming global. Actually, everybody is now reaching to the global market and all. So, in the globalization era, although the geopolitical and other challenges are there, but what is the role of CFO when the company is looking to go in the global market, and how it can be synced with the CEO? If you can cover on that part, that will be great. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I think it's a very different world, perhaps, than it used to be several years ago. There is both, the ambition for companies to be global and to have business in various different countries, but at the same time, the political environment is leading to sort of almost deglobalization in some way. If you look at the tensions that exist between China and the US, or other countries, and particularly post-COVID, there's a growing wave of nationalism, and people want to do more manufacturing and have more control over their supply chains within their country. So I think it's I was listening intently to some of the comments, but I think it's really achieving that balance between the ambition of growth that the company has, and investing in innovation that may lead to expansion, et cetera, globally, while at the same time balancing risk. So, for example, we try to have dual source suppliers for most of our products, right? So we're not dependent on one supplier. And at the same time, when situations arise, whether it was the Russia crisis or COVID-related lockdowns in China, you're able to pivot quickly to alternate ways. So I think a lot of the role is managing risk. Risk always exists, but it's really how you manage through it, and be the sort of solution provider rather than just the pointing out problems. Obviously, problems will exist. If there's a business, problem will come up from time to time. But because the finance lead generally has a very good pulse on all the moving parts in the system, all the moving parts in the business, they're also in a very good position to try to help sort of provide solutions. And I think that's really, the role that a CFO can play, with the and really great comments from the rest of the panelists on this topic too.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, friends, we were talking about technology, and technology, I think it's a very, very important area, and everybody is using technology. But whenever the technology is using by the organization, the decision is taken by the CTO or the CEO, or maybe by some board member actually. But the CFO role is very, very important, because a lot of cost is incurred and impact the growth of the organization. So, sir, I think if you can cover up from the technology point of view, what is the role of CFO when the technology is implemented in the organization, the investment is done on technology, and how it can help when you are syncing with the CEO and get the best technology for the organization?
Sure, thanks. So I would like to answer this in two aspects. One, in terms of the data, the ERP. So when we talk about ERP, I believe ERP isn't there anymore. There is an explosion of data right now, and that even ERP can't capture. There is operational and there is, financial metrics that needs to be covered. So I think one of the important role for a CFO is actually to look at data and to derive the business metrics, which are very important. there are a lot of loopholes, there are a lot of gaps. So idea is not only to identify the gaps, but also to be solution oriented, to find out and work along with the CEO to fill those gaps. So primarily one aspect is more regarding the data, how you are handling it, how you are deriving the value out of the data, which is very important for the long-term success of any business. The second aspect is in regard to the technology is, you don't need to work only on a very vertical framework. You need to work on a horizontal framework. You need to work with cross-functional teams, work with them, understand their requirement, work with operational tech, sales, marketing, and deliver the best out of it. So we at Chqbook, we primarily work for the upliftment of small business owners like shop kiranas. Tech plays a very vital role, given you need to, just to give you an example, if a 5 days period is taken by a bank to process a file of a bank loan, we try to process it within 10 minutes, within 30 minutes. So how you can deliver that? Of course, there's a big role of tech that goes into it, and you need to work with everyone, with your CTO, with your CEO, and make sure that you deliver the business outcomes within the right cost, within the right business plan, and deliver it effectively. So you need to, very much work very close with all of them.
So maybe I would like to add with a simple example on technology. So overall, in today's digital world, like Facebook, Google, social media, how we have leveraged the technology is previously I'm from real estate. So in real estate, the focus is more on site visit. Till the time there is a visit, physical visit, before the customer experience, you are not able to make the booking. Now, in this technology, and there are a lot of brokers, there is a broker channel partner world. Now, with this help of technology from Google, Facebook, and social media platforms, and we are able to increase our digital sales from 5% to 45%, which is a significant jump. It not only reduces the cost, but now more important is how we are able to synthesize this technology that all the sources gets funneled and gets converted, because there will be 1,000 lead, but every lead will not convert into a walk-in or to a conversion to the sale. But how that funnel goes and how the machinery continuously learn and work as and when a new project is there or as and when the potential customer is recorded. So lot of technologies behind it which can support the business and which can help the business to identify and tap the right customer.
Right, sir. Thank you very much. I think the time is up now, basically, because I'm seeing on the screen. So it's a great deliberation. I believe that all of you must have some kind of learning with this discussion. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.